Right, it is a widely accepted view that opinion polls in Kenya use the very same way a drunkard would make use of street lights to support their wobbly legs rather than for elimination. The latest poll in town by Infotrack attracts grumblings, mumblings and babbles. It is the usual chatter from the political class who obviously have a direct interest in the numbers and the power relation games. But can we tonight go a bit deeper and discuss methodology? I will have some very straight questions for Infotrack's Angela Mbitho in a moment in this program. And from a very defensive 8-4-4 formation to 2-6-6-3, essentially crowding the midfield. No, I'm not talking about soccer formation, but the country's education system is a subject of great discussion this week. In a moment, I'll be talking to Dr. Dina Mwinzi, who's the Principal Secretary, Technical and Vocational in the Ministry of Education. Does a discussion about curriculum really matter? This is Monday Night News. Happy Easter, everybody, and welcome to the program. Our sign language interpreter tonight is William Saylor. Good evening. I'm James Smart. Now, the saga surrounding the Okoa Kenya referendum push has taken a new twist after the Electoral Commission said it did not verify the authenticity of signatures presented by code. A statement by the Commission says the Okoa Kenya initiative was rejected on the basis of records that did not tally with voters' register. And as Chris Dairu now reports, the Okoa Kenya Secretariat has now distanced itself from the record that showed animal symbols as signatures.
The rejection of Okoa Kenya referendum initiative continues to generate heat than light. A statement issued Monday morning by the IEBC says that it did not seek to verify the authenticity of the signatures provided, contrary to assertions by the opposition code. The commission insists that it rejected the initiative due to discrepancies in the records provided and that in the voters' register. The statement adds, and I quote, "The commission did not reject a single signature because of its structure or formation," end quote. Code is on the record questioning how IEBC can purport to verify signatures, with Raila Odinga accusing IEBC of not being genuine.
We're saying you're transforming Okoa Kenya to Okoa IEBC and Okoa Jubilee.
So I think we are going to have a very tough time with a man called Hassan. His time is up. The hour has come for Hassan to go.
Questions have also been raised about the Okoa Kenya initiative, with some leaders such as Mutula Kilonzo Jr. accusing the Secretariat of messing up the crucial process, seeking to change the constitution through a popular initiative. Mutula on his Twitter account said, and I quote, "Truth be told, the Okoa Kenya initiative experts were a disaster par excellence. Everything they touched turned black," end quote. And Monday, the man responsible for driving the process, Paul Mwangi, has come out to defend the Secretariat and told KTN, and I quote, "We verified all the records we collected from the grassroots level before presenting them to the IEBC for verification," end quote. Mwangi, who was speaking to KTN on phone, questioned why the IEBC was reluctant in giving them a formal response on signatures and which voter registers they used to verify the signatures. CORD is still adamant that IEBC, as currently constituted, will not be allowed to conduct the 2017 general election.
I don't know whom they're trying to fool, but let them know that you can fool some people sometimes, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. The Kenyans are intelligent enough.
Hii yatuashiria wazi kuwa hakuna usimamizi mwema katika zile tume za uchaguzi.
The coalition is set to announce their next course of action after Okoa Kenya referendum initiative flopped. The code principals have promised to inform their supporters on their next course of action this Saturday when Wetangula launches his presidential bid in Kakamega County. Chris Dairu, KTN News.
Right now, the Amani National Congress is planning to petition Parliament to come with a law to regulate pollsters. The party, whose leader Musalia Mudavadi scored a 0.5% popularity rating in a presidential opinion poll by Infotrack, has dismissed the poll as choreographed to suit the interest of its sponsors. The party says the survey is irrelevant since presidential campaigns are yet to get underway. And as KTN's Rita Tinina now reports, Jubilee is welcoming the poll results, saying it is a true reflection of the situation on the ground.
5 days and 1,800 interviewees in 26 of the country's 47 counties is what it took research firm Infotrack to come up with its latest poll findings. According to the survey, President Uhuru Kenyatta is the most popular presidential candidate with a 44.5% rating, followed by CORD leader Raila Odinga with 27.8%. Kalonzo Musyoka, who has a 2.5% rating, beats Deputy President William Ruto, whose popularity stands at 1.2%. Musalia Mudavadi is bottom of the list with a 0.5% rating.
Thermometer does not create weather. Polls don't create opinions.
Mudavadi's Amani National Congress has dismissed the poll as imaginary, saying the timing of the poll renders it irrelevant.
People who have never declared candidature are rated on the same platform as the declared ones.
There's no elections going on. How do we compare Uhuru and Musalia now when there is no contest? When the game will come to be played, then you can rate. That's what we are saying. But this is speculative. You know, it's imagination. It is hallucination. It's like you are reporting on a football game, Manchester playing against Liverpool, and the players are not there in the field.
The party says the poll figures don't add up compared to the situation on the ground. But Majority Leader in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, says the poll paints a true picture of the real situation on the ground.
Wisecracks are made when Honorable Raila Odinga outpoints Honorable Kalonzo and Honorable Etangula in their villages, and Uhuru suddenly turns tables on his deputy president in his own Eldoret and Rift Valley turf.
So the opinion polls is a true reflection of what the Kenyan society is saying. It says the merger of the Jubilee Alliance Party is the most popular.
The Amani National Congress is now seeking to have pollsters regulated.
We'll soon be petitioning Parliament, the relevant committee of Parliament, with a proposal to regulate opinion polls. This madness must be arrested and cured for the good of this country.
The party is also questioning the credibility of polls, arguing that survey questions are sponsored by interested parties.
Our question is, if as a party or political parties, you are invited to give questions and pay for those questions, then where is the credibility of the whole process?
Normally it is a requirement within the practice of pollsters releasing their reports. It must start and include to declare who is sponsoring and how much.
CORD on Sunday dismissed the poll, terming it as diversionary. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
The Big Q in association with DSTV.
Well, on the back of that, we'd like to ask you on a big question tonight. We're asking, do you think opinion polls are a true reflection of the reality on the ground? Do you think opinion polls are a true reflection of the reality on the ground? Please tweet us at KTN Kenya or at KTN News or at James March, and I will pick your views as the bulletin goes on.
Say hello to the Barclays Premier League, La Liga and Euro 2016. Now live and in glorious HD on DSTV Compact. Enjoy more value at no extra cost with football unmatched on Supersport and DSTV Compact.
Well, let's move on now. Is government spending, well, too much on land compensation under Vision 2030? 11 billion shillings has already been paid out for acquisition of land in the Nairobi-Mombasa segment of the Standard Gauge Railway. And the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure knows that the government has enough land to relocate affected persons that compensate there, and compensation is not sustainable undertakings. Abegina puts this into perspective.
Kenya fast rushing to execute major infrastructure projects, the economy has been poised to grow significantly. In 2016, the National Treasury forecast that Kenya will grow by 6%, mainly anchored on increased infrastructure spending. Among some of the top 5 projects Kenya is currently constructing include the port expansion in Mombasa, JKIA modernization program, the Lamu Port South Sudan Ethiopia Transport Corridor LAPSET, as well as the standard gauge railway project. Whereas these projects are meant to ease the cost of doing business and make Kenya an attractive destination, they have come at an extra cost. And that is the amount spent in relocation of residents owing to land within the vicinity the projects will reside.
Investments in land must benefit the local people and the Kenyan public in general. So I think from what you have seen and the expected benefits that are going to accrue from this project, the benefits certainly will outweigh the costs.
The SGR alone has seen a whopping 12 billion shillings paid out to thousands of landowners as compensation. Other projects that are set to gobble up huge amounts include the LAPSET project as well as the construction of the Dongokundu bypass in Mombasa County. The Ministry of Transport is now worried that the huge sums being channeled to compensation could make Kenya lose out on major regional infrastructure projects.
I think the 12 billion to me, unfortunately, is where I feel we need to change the narrative. It's great that that has been paid and another 18 billion to be paid, but I think that's where we need to change the narrative as Kenyans, because public goods, public interest should override private interest. I do not I do not believe it will be sustainable for us to continue paying these kinds of monies. We are talking of LAPSET, which is 950 kilometers all the way from Lamu to Nakadok on the South Sudan border. We are talking of a corridor of 500 meters. We are talking of that LAPSET going from Lamu to Isiolo to Nairobi. We are talking of building commuter rail, expanding that. I think we need to come up to sit down and say it is not about people making money from these public projects.
Although relocation from one area to another is a viable option for landowners, a majority of them have in the past preferred cash compensation.
The proposal is always there is land. Government has a lot of land. If I take away your half acre, I should be able to give you another half acre or an acre or 2 acres somewhere else. I'm not taking a lot of people on these routes. You'll find it's not like they are living there. So that you have half an acre here does not mean that you cannot move it just a kilometer away. It's still government land. So I should be able to give you land, not money.
This is attributed to a land buying regime that is heavily speculative.
We will spend 30 billion shillings on SGR. If we were to compensate for a 500-meter corridor on LAPSET for 900 kilometers, we are talking of billions of dollars. We do not have billions of dollars to pay for land before you even start paying for the infrastructure itself. When we were discussing with the Ugandans on Monday on the oil, the crude oil, the crude oil pipeline, one of the issues they raised is the issue of compensation of land acquisition in Kenya, saying that they do not see how we'll be able to do that in such a short period, because they're saying it's difficult, it's expensive, and they don't have a guarantee that we'll be able to deliver.
We also have a lot of disputes of ownership of the land parcels which we are acquiring. Either we don't know the owner or the owners are in dispute themselves. A family is having a dispute over who should actually be paid. Then we have cases of land without titles, cases of land with only developments. All these are challenges that we have had to undertake to meet when we are undertaking the acquisition.
To change the narrative is public good. The road is a public good, should override private interest. We just need to figure out how do you compensate this loss of private interest.
Poor planning is to blame for the heavy spending on mega projects. Perhaps it is time now that the Ministry of Planning develops policies that give clear guidelines on key government projects so as to ensure the areas are zoned out to avoid encroachment, which has a huge dent on infrastructure projects. Abiagina, KTN Business Today.
All right, you're watching Monday Night News on KTN. We do take a short break. When we come back, we have plenty more, including a change of curriculum, possible change of curriculum, I should say. Don't go too far. All right, welcome back. You're watching Monday Night News. Now, this week, a new education conference will be held here in Nairobi, which may decide which way our education system go. The conference, to be held at the KICC, will discuss key changes proposed by a task force which includes reviewing the 844 system of education. Now let's join Akisa Wandera for the highlights of the proposed change. Akisa.
Thank you, James. Now, as you have mentioned, on Wednesday this week, the 30th of this month, we are expecting one of the biggest conference, one of the most important conferences as far as the education sector is concerned. And we will just be looking at some of the proposals that have been made, the proposals that stakeholders who will be attending this particular conference will be discussing. We have 500 or more stakeholders expected to attend. It is being held at the KICC on the 30th of this month, which is just a day off. And the stakeholders are set to validate key findings of a review team. These are the proposals that were made by Douglas Odhiambo task force. Douglas is the former vice chancellor for the Moi University. He was among those who came up with these proposals, dubbed the reforms roadmap. And these stakeholders will just be deliberating these proposals that have been given. There will also be a needs assessment report to be tabled for discussion on Wednesday at the KICC. And this report particularly looks at systematic processes for determining and addressing needs or gaps, to take a look at the former conditions we had and the current conditions, especially in where and how we want to take the education sector in the country. But now let's just take a look at some of the proposals that have been made specifically when it comes to the education system in the country. One of the major proposals is that we get into the 663 system. We do away with the 844 and get into 2663. That means 2 years for preschool, that is nursery and pre-unit, as you may have it. We have 6 years in a primary school as opposed to 8 years, what we have right now. Then 6 years in secondary school. The 6 years of secondary school will be divided in two. We'll have junior secondary school and a senior secondary school, where in the senior secondary school, students will be introduced to career pathways to ensure there's practicality in some of the things they learn while in school. That will happen in the last 3 years of the secondary school, which will be called the senior secondary school. And finally, the education system cycle will end at the university, where students will be subjected to 3 years of learning at the university as opposed to 2 years of learning. Some of the proposals that have also been made by the Douglas Odhiambo-led task force is that we do away with examinations, the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education and the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. And if this particular report is adopted, it means the last time or the last group to take up the KCPE examinations will be the class of 2018 that will sit for exams in 2018. And for KCSE, the last examinations we will have, if this particular report is adopted, will be in the year 2021. So why 2663? Why? What's some of the reasons why we are vouching for this particular system? The stakeholders and some of the experts in the education sector say this particular system will be based on competence. How competent are you when it comes to the job market, the skills you're gaining in school? It will not just be about what we get now of reading a lot, having a lot of subjects that we are doing in school, when at the end of the day we can't do practical, or students can't do practical things when they get into the outside world, like write a simple letter a simple job application letter. This is the competence we are talking about, which is one of the reasons why they're vouching for the 2663. The system is also expected to be age appropriate, where students will learn what is expected of them with a particular age they are in. And also we're looking at ensuring mastery of foundational skills. When kids are young, they get to learn what they are supposed to learn with the particular age they have. Career pathways to be introduced at secondary school level. This is something I mentioned when we were looking at the various systems. The 2663 and the 6 for secondary school will be divided in two, where the second bit, career pathways, will be introduced to students. Now, some of the reasons why we are looking at doing away with the 844 system. 844 system, just a brief history, was introduced in the year 1985. It has been with us for 85 years. It has been completely examination oriented, where students have had to read for examination, and everything you've learned has been put in one paper at the end of 8 years or at the end of 4 years, and that's why we've had some credibility issues being mentioned. The 2015 examination had a lot of credibility issues, and we've just seen a week before now, or a few days ago, we saw the NEC board being disbanded over credibility issues of the KCSE examination. The 844 system is also being accused of insisting on rote learning, where students just cram to pass examinations, and that's it. They do not have the skills that they need to have when they get into the job market, and this is what they're seeking to do away with. And no practicality at all. I've mentioned students cannot even do a simple task like changing a bulb, and they are finished with university. They're seeking to introduce practical ways of doing things for students, practical examination. These are some of the things that they will be talking about. Stakeholders will be deliberating on come Wednesday at the KICC, and I will now take it back to James Smart, who will be having a very candid discussion on why we need this particular switch from 844 to 8663. James.
Soundera, very well done, very well said. I think you're a teaching professional. Thank you very much. All right, welcome back to Monday Night News. Now, the unity of the Code Coalition is once again being put to the test as the coalition's co-principal, Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula, prepares to launch his presidential bid on Saturday. Fellow co-principal Wiper Kalonzo leader Kalonzo Musyoka launched his bid in January, while that of the Code leader Raila Odinga is as good as launched. Tonight on Spotlight 2017, KTN's Murimi Mwangi delves into the opposition that has greeted Wetangula's planned launch in Kakamega and expands the scope of the standoff to include voices of political analysts and leaders across the three affiliate parties of the opposition coalition.
This is the warm-up for 2017 general election, only that each of the three Code principals is keen to impress and lay claim on the ultimate prize, the presidency.
Niko na nguvu na niko tayari kutumikia Jamhuri ya Kenya kama rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya.
Mimi nilisimama na Raila, nafasi yake ya kusimama na mimi imefika. Sio kumtoroka.
Nguvu ya nyororo hii ya Code inategemea uzito wa Ford Kenya, uzito wa Wiper na ODM.
It is now barely a year before the opposition coalition names its flag bearer to face President Uhuru Kenyatta, who will be flying the Jubilee flag come the general election. And Code appears to be strained with each of the principal, under pressure from their lieutenants to focus keenly on the ultimate prize, the presidency.
Wiper Party's candidacy for presidency is Kalonzo Musyoka. Wiper Party has put forth within the coalition and to the Kenyans their candidate for presidency, who is Kalonzo Musyoka.
My primary support is Raila Odinga. As the chairman of ODM, I have a presidential candidate in the name of Raila Odinga, who is the party leader of ODM. But in the event that he is not going to clinch the Code ticket, definitely I will support another candidate.
Since Code's defeat in 2013, the Ukambani Brigade has been getting thirstier for the big seat, insisting that former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka may bring home the presidency if he only gets the support of Odinga and Wetangula. Already, the son of Saikuru has launched his bid for the position. And now, it is the turn of Moses Masika Wetangula to launch his bid next Saturday in Kakamega.
Mimi na Raila na Kalonzo tumejenga nyumba ya CORD. Sasa kama mimi nimejenga nyumba, nimeweka mabati yangu, nimeweka matofali yangu, nimeweka taili yangu, nitoke kwa hiyo nyumba nimwachie nani? Nimwachie nani?
That to me, the launching of the presidential bid by Honorable Moses Wetangula to me is a good thing. It's progressive. I support it fully because we have said that whoever wants to run as president in CORD coalition is free to do so.
Hatutakubali siasa duni zenye zinaletwa na Senator Wetangula kwa mambo yake ya urais.
But roadblocks mounted on Wetangula's launch by a section of ODM leaders led by Deputy Party Leader Wycliffe Oparanya is raising eyebrows on the perceived unbreakable cord of the coalition and has exposed the vicious battle and even backstabbing between partners in the race to State House. ODM insiders say they are not entirely against Wetangula's Kakamega launch, but are displeased that Wetangula is launching his bid in a county which ODM has almost single-handedly wrestled away from Musalia Mudavadi's Amani National Congress.
Anytime people hear Oparanya talking against Wetangula, they are hearing the voice of Raila Odinga in the background.
Mheshimiwa Oparanya, nisikize bana. Kama unaanza hiyo siasa ya kusema kwamba mtu asindue siasa yake kutoka kwao, ati Wetangula aende kwao alizaliwa Bungoma, basi wewe wakati utasindua yako ya governor, usisindue Kakamega, nenda usindue kule Manyuria.
The latest Infotrack survey places the CORD coalition second in popularity behind the ruling Jubilee coalition, while CORD leader Raila Odinga comes second behind President Uhuru Kenyatta. Fort Kenya and Wiper insiders, however, insist that Kalonzo and Wetangula can equally humiliate the Jubilee coalition in 2017 should Raila decide to support either of the two. Citing the landmark win of retired President Mwai Kibaki in 2002 when Raila led NAC's campaign against the Independence Party, KANU.
Toka Bungoma mpakani mpaka Kwale, kutoka Turukana mpaka Lamu, Wakenya wanauliza, nyinyi wana CORD, mutasimama pamoja mpaka mwisho au mutasambaratishwa?
But I would guarantee you that chances that we will have a fallout is near nil. We will be a one united force.
We do believe the internal processes of the coalition will find it fit that Kalonzo is the best person to deliver the presidency. And that is within the arrangement of the CORD coalition.
And so CORD's quest to clinch the presidency and by extension to overturn Jubilee's tyranny of numbers here in Parliament has yet again put to test the cooperation of the three affiliate parties. But will two of the three core principles shelve their presidential ambitions? Yet again, the cord that binds the coalition together is being put to the test. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi.
Cardiff in Wales on a rainy day that saw the world watch from a distance as Kenyan long-distance runners dominated the World Half Marathon Championships. It was time to welcome home the world beaters as they jetted back Monday afternoon. All eyes were on the women's world champion Perez Jepchirchir, who beat the odds to win a title in a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 31 seconds. Jepchirchir laid out her win to good preparation and a strong final kick that saw her get better off than her compatriots despite a challenging weather.
Mbio zilikuwa mzuri, tunafurahia na tunashukuru Mungu kwa ushindi ambao ametupa na uongozi. So we decide to work as a team. Then the final kilometer maybe we accelerate. Tuone mwenye cold ni nani. Ndivyo.
In Cardiff, the spotlight was on Cynthia Limo, who had boasted the best time heading into the race. Despite settling for second best in the race, the 2016 ranked 21-kilometer champion is now focused on making it to the team that will represent Kenya in Rio Olympics.
Ninashukuru kwa mwenzangu kuwa mshindi. Ni furaha yangu pia kwa sababu pia nami nimeweza kuja na medal ya silver na yeye akaepuka ushindi ya gold.
This is an achievement for winning 2 medals in a world championship, major championship. That's a great thing. So I'm happy. I have no complaints. I'm happy with that.
Missing from the travelling party was the men's champion Geoffrey Kamworor and runners-up Benden Karoki, who travelled to Netherlands and Frankfurt respectively. The travelling officials feel the team did a commendable work under difficult weather conditions.
Cardiff was not pleasing. It was raining, very cold and windy, but our athletes did the best.
I'm very proud, full of joy, because my fellow Kenyan men and women, they have made me proud. I can see that I really set a pace and they are really following it up.
Kenya's women completed a second successive clean sweep of the podium, repeating a feat they claimed in 2014. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
Well, the Kenya Roll Ball Federation playoffs kicked off today at the Kasarani Gymnasium, with Achibela getting the biggest win of the day with a 7-0 scoreline against Kenyatta University. In another match, Goa were unstoppable after getting a 6-0 win over St. Paul's University in a one-sided encounter. In the men's, the Goa were 4-3 winners over Kenyatta University in what was a thrilling encounter. Now, the Royal Nairobi Golf Club is the winner of the 2016 Easter Golf Tournament, commonly known as the Turnhull Shield. Royal garnered a total of 53 points to retain the Turnhull Shield 3 years in a row. The club beat 8 other participating clubs by a massive 15 points, the biggest margin in the past 10 years. Limuru and Vetlab Golf Clubs took the second position in the main tournament with 38 points each, while Railways Golf Club was number 3 with 33 points. The Turnhull Golf Tournament is unique in that it's played by teams instead of individuals of amateur golfers from various clubs who showcase their golfing skills while enjoying the company of other competing golfers. The winner is determined through a scoring system where teams earn 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and no point for a loss. The Turnhull Golf Tournament is the brainchild of Major Arthur Turnhull and was inaugurated in 1942 as an annual event, but was held in 1940 on account of the Second World War. Well, thank you very much for watching Monday Night News, and thank you very much for the tweet storm. I see all your tweets and I see all your points. For everything else, thank you. We want to end it there on Monday Night News. My name is James Smart. Leave you with the weather. Have a lovely night and get back to work tomorrow.